If you're a sewer, quilter, or crafter, I know you've got lots of leftover material. We gotta do something with it. We're talking about Free February in 2023, where here at Homemade, we're gonna help you use up what you've got.
What the heck do we do with these leftover pieces?
All of these extra little squares.
What do you do with yours?
They've got to be good for something.
It's a mystery.
Register at homemade.ca if you're excited to get your scraps organized in 2023. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm Jennifer Tryon, and you just saw our little promo for Free February. And what we're doing in January is why you're here right now, to get all of those scraps organized so we can be making cute little scrappy projects in February. This is one that I've done up ahead. It's just a little zipper pouch, but I can't even believe it when I got this together this week. Out of all of these scrap materials, I thought, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. This looks like something I would have planned. It looks like something brand new with a pattern, but really it's just my scraps, just these, brought to life. So that's what's going to be happening for you in the next coming weeks, since you have registered for our Free February scrap event. And we started 2 weeks ago getting organized in January. I know it's lots of your resolutions to do that. And if you're a sewer, you maybe have lots of, bins full of material that you've been hoarding or saving throughout the years. We're going to get those organized. I have got lots of piles in front of me here. These are all sorted by size, but you can see I've neglected to sort them by color, because this is what we're going to get to tonight. But first, let's say hi to everybody. We've got Amanda Brown, Janome educator, and all around fabulous quilter. She runs the Canadian Quilt Collective. She's got the most gorgeous hair out there. Thank you for being here, Amanda. We're so glad you're here.
Of course. I'm so happy to be here.
For sure. And I'll tell you a little story later, but Amanda was here. We were in person today. Now we're not in person, but she was here in the shop today. We've got news about that. All right, let's see who's tuning in. Charlotte's here. She's saying hi to me and you, Amanda. We've got Donna. Hi, Donna. Let's scroll back a little bit and we can see who's tuning in here. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Sonia. We've got a video coming up from Sonia. Thank you for sending that in. We'll get to that in a few minutes too. We've got Joy in from Texas, who's getting organized. You're welcome. Yvonne from Alberta. Hey, Karen. I like the Here We Go. She got inspired by that video and the music. I watched it too, and I see all the scraps, and doesn't it kind of get your mojo going to get organized? Yes. Okay, good. That didn't sound too convincing.
I'm getting organized.
All right, there we go. Okay. Leah, hi. Dana, hi. She's in from Calgary. Hello to Coburg. Angela, hi. I'm so glad you're saying hi. I know you love the cricket, but we'll get you over on the fabric side of things. If you love one, you end up loving the other for sure. Suzanne's in from Clarington. We've got Northern BC. Hi, Barb. Hi, Sylvie. Hi, Liz. So good. I'm so glad you're here. I loved your post today. I like seeing you get all those organized. Chris is in from Regina. Oh, who's in Hawaii instead of organizing? No problem. It's the only excuse.
There's fabric shops there, just so you know.
Oh, we got some wild.
I want to go visit.
Yeah, let's all go hit all the quilt shops in Honolulu or Maui, right?
Yeah.
Homemade
goes to Hawaii.
That's right, Homemade Hawaii. It should be a bureau. It should be a branch. We should have a chain. Yeah?
Yes.
I like it.
Dream big.
We could do a retreat. Carol Ann's in from Richmond Hill. So I'm so glad you're all here. Hello to everybody. Sorry if I missed you. The names go scrolling by very fast, but I'm so glad you're tuning in here tonight. We've got lots of people registered for Free February. So that's coming. It's tomorrow. Or no, the next day. Tomorrow's the 31st. Then it's February. So we've got some work to do this week before next week's live. because next week we're going to start making some projects, and we're going to start small, and we're going to work our way up to some bigger things, like the pouch, and maybe even some quilt blocks, you guys. If you decided to go for the gusto and not just do the free classes, maybe you decided to go for the Scrappiness is Happiness book. We're going to use this as our textbook, our Scrappiness textbook for this class. This is Lori Holt's book. It's fabulous. We're following a lot of her advice, and we're going rogue in some places too. But once we get into free February, there are, what was it? Yeah, 32 different patterns in this book that all help you use up your scraps. So
I love those stars.
I know.
They're so pretty.
They're so beautiful, and can look so different based on how you, like what scraps you use, whether you use a solid background, whether you use a low volume background, whether you use a solid color background.
Or you could do all those scraps on the back and the stars, different colors.
Oh gosh.
I have ideas.
Yeah. So I love that this book is so full of patterns that, no matter what way you go, you'll have a different quilt every single time. And it's just such a great way to use up fabric that's perfectly good, but it's been sitting in a bin for maybe decades, right?
Very long time.
When I showed you my pouch that I sewed up, that is this block right here. We're going to get to it in February, but I just wanted to show you. Did we pass it already, or maybe not yet? I'll get to it. Because you kind of, when you see some of these, go, well, I don't want to make the whole quilt, but we're going to show you in February how to take some of them and just use the block for something cool. Oh, it's this one. So like this, this looks like this whole big strings quilt where we're kind of going on the diagonal. But when you use those blocks as something else, like I've done here with the bag, added a cute zipper. If you go for the full kit, you're getting some zippers in your kit. You're getting a bottle of flatter. You're getting some interfacing. You're getting batting and 5.5 yards of backing fabric, whatever yardage you want, in case you decide to do a full quilt from the book. Then you've got yardage for the back of your quilt. So you may want to go for that. If you don't need any more, piecing fabrics, but you do want, let's say, a big 108-inch wide backing, we can put that in your kit to help you use up your scraps. The book also comes in the full kit. So we've got like just a handful left. We managed to get 10 more books from the company, even though we've already sent out like something like 70 books or something crazy. we managed to squeak out another 10, only because the massive amount we ordered. The distributor ordered 10 more for other shops, and we just bought those 2 for you guys. So I know once we get going, people are gonna order this book if they don't. It's about 10, left. Yeah, that's how many we were able to. So you've been warned. There's 10. So if you don't get it and you want it, sorry. So Amanda, how are you doing with? I know in the class descriptions we said we were going to talk storage tonight, but we really need to talk trimming, and we'll talk storage a bit, because the storage is the kind of thing where I can say, sorry, I just hit my mic. I hate when people do that. I know. TV, Opa, don't hit your mic. Sorry, who's saying, oh no, that's not great. Maybe that we don't have enough books. Well, there's 10 left. There's enough for whoever's watching. There's 10.
Get it now.
The book is, maybe Amanda can put up a link. It's $49.95, I think, around there. And if you get the kit that comes with the 5.5 yards of fabric, the flatter, the batting, I think it's $249, but you're getting like a massive amount of stuff to help you use up your scraps. Okay, we're talking storage, and we're going to talk about how to cut down your scraps. The reason why we're not going to go too whole hog into storage is because, hey, I don't know what your room looks like. I don't know whether you've got drawers or shelves or just bins or how you want to do it. Instead, we can kind of look at some storage ideas, and you can decide like, oh, yeah, that's kind of, I'm inspired by that. Or maybe it's like, you know what, I just have to use what I've got. And that's probably, given that we're in this free February space and we're trying to save a little coin and use up what we have, probably a great way to go. Is to use up what you have. So if you're currently using bins and you like that method and you've got it all, in a closet or on a shelf and that's working, that's great. We're going to help you organize those bins, because I think whatever storage solution you use, you can kind of apply this method. Don't you think, Amanda?
Absolutely. Like in the end, it's going to take whatever you like and what you want to use and what's going to work for you. So
Yeah.
it's not a big deal if you're just like, no, that's not going to work for me. You just have to adapt it, because I know already, although this picture makes me so happy. Like,
I know. It's all of these white, probably fairly inexpensive baskets. Like, I think you could probably get these at the dollar store. What I think the key here to doing a basket system in the closet like this is that these don't taper up. You know how you get laundry baskets or buckets and they kind of go like this? You want, if you're going to store them, for them to be flat at the sides so that you can push them in. Otherwise, you're going to have this triangular space on both sides that's wasted. Yeah. So if you can't get buckets like this with the handles, those great boxes from IKEA are, great. They've got cute colors. The little cubes, you know what I mean? That's a great system if you like bins in the closet and shelves. I think they've just taken the closet doors off here to display this because it's so wonderful.
It's so pretty.
What do you do for your storage, Amanda?
Well, I have, for my little scraps, I have my drawers that we looked at last week. And then all my extra stuff go into my rolly bins, and they are pure chaos.
Oh, God.
So, so what I've been doing, I've gotten through one already, is I've been sorting them out by fabric so that I can pile them and cut them nicely. Most of them are already cut nicely, but pile them together and they take up way less space being organized. Right. And then I can refill my bins in my drawer so much easier.
Yes, exactly. What I do, and I'm not sure if, Karen, we have the picture of it or not from last week, but basically I have these boxes that I made out of cardboard. Amanda, maybe you want to just grab one? Yeah, that's one of the pink ones right there. And it looks like super cute like that, but it's only front facing. I made these out of cardboard. They are not freestanding cardboard boxes. They are pieces of cardboard that I cut and duct taped together and then covered with the beautiful fabric. And the reason why I did that, thank you, there's the orange one. So you can see at the back, see how actually this is hockey tape. Oh, my son, don't look. Yeah. This is what he tapes his stick with. So, hey, use what you have, right? That's what we're doing.
Yes.
So these were free because, we only get 1 billion Amazon shipments a day. And I cut them down and I knew the exact size of my shelf. And so I made them to fit the size of the shelves that I had. And then I front faced them with some very cute fabric that, honestly, I had been hoarding this Bonnie and Camille fabric for so long. I was, I think it's from the Marmalade collection. I didn't want to cut it up. And so this was the perfect use for it because now it's on display. I never wanted to cut it. And now I didn't cut it. I could always take this whole fat quarter right off here if I needed to. But I did make, I embroidered just, orange, well, the oranges, and did it in orange thread. And that's how I've sorted my just heap of scraps. Now, this is all scraps that are too small for what we're doing or not made out of the right material. So now this has sort of become a job for a later date because I've pulled all of the colors of quilting cotton, which is sort of what we're organizing here, out. So all the oranges have been pulled, all the pinks have been pulled, and I color sorted them. And now we're going to start cutting them down. I'm going to show you, I was hard at work over the last 2 weeks. I kind of got ahead of you guys and started cutting already. If you're following me on Instagram or on social media, maybe you watched this on and thought, ooh, look how fast she is. This took hours. I literally sat here for hours doing it. I had, what was I watching? Bridgerton. Yeah. I started it. You know, there's always like a series or a show or a book that you'll remember doing your stuff with. So yeah, we are going to get those cut down. But I wanted to also take a look at, we had a couple of people send us in what they were doing for their storage solutions. So maybe we can, let's run Sonia's first, and then we will take a look at the bigger promo where we see Michael from Janome and Amanda's storage solutions.
Hi, Homemade team. This is Sonia. Today I'd like to show you how I store my fabric. I seen an idea online of this bookcase style that hung their fabric, which was like over $1,200. So I thought I would replicate it by going to IKEA and maybe getting a Billy bookcase. A friend of mine was getting rid of one, so I got this for free. I just had to hang the dials, purchase hangers, and I fold my fabric down to 8 inches wide to 6 inches deep, and I put plastic or Ziploc bag around them. This way they stay clean, dust free, and that will always look good. I hang them up in somewhat color order, but I really like this idea. You have all your fabric in your view. You see what you have, you see what you don't, and I like the look of it. It's right there.
Great idea with the hanging. I love
It's
different
so cute.
ideas like that, right?
It's so organized. I love it.
Yeah. The thing,
Love it.
yeah. Alice is saying she had no sound, but I think that's on her end because we had sound here. Amanda, did you have sound?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And someone else can let us know if they could hear it. Okay. Otherwise, we can replay it. I think maybe she can't hear anything. Period. Like it's on her end. Anyway, I love that. Thank you so much for sending that in. That's a great way to, if you've got, well, she said she folds it down to 8 inches. And I love that you can see everything. When you can see everything, you tend to be inspired by it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I love the whole aesthetic of that. So
I also love that she got that shelf for free. You know,
yeah.
If you go on Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji in your area, if you're needing more storage, start there. Even if you have to just like, $20 or $50 for the perfect thing, that's nothing. And it saves it from a landfill. You're helping another family out by, giving them a little bit of money for, something that they don't need anymore. I always shop there first. I think that that's amazing. Great job, Sonia. Like, love it. Thank you so much for sending it in. All right, we have a little preview of how you do and, a little more about Free February right now. Are you overflowing in scraps of fabric? Me too. Starting in 2023, let's use what we have and sort out these scraps. We paid a lot of good money for this fabric. Let's bring it back to life. But if you're like me, sorting out these scraps is going to take a while. So we're going to start in January to get ready for Free February.
Hi everyone, it's Amanda Brown here. Scraps are a big problem with a lot of people, and it's taken me a long time to figure out exactly how I need to manage them to make sense for me. So I have a couple different ways I store them, depending on what they are, how big they are.
For 2 weeks in January, we're going to help you sort out your scraps and come up with a system that works for you.
Hey everyone, it's me, Janome Man. Little strips like this, or, a little chunk like that, you wonder, what do I do with it? This is a drawer full of 2.5-inch dark strips. These can be the springboard to new and fun projects.
Then, for 4 weeks in February, absolutely free, we're going to do 4 projects using all our scraps. Register at homemade.ca if you're excited to get your scraps organized in 2023. We'll see you then. I love that Michael and you both use that drawer system for your smaller scraps. Maybe that's the way to go, you guys, because it's very tough to display, very small pieces. So having them tucked away and easily accessible like that. Now, do you find when you use the drawer system that you're like digging through?
Yeah, sometimes, but because now I have them in little boxes, I tend to pull that box out. So if I'm looking for a pink, I pull it out. So it's easier to sort through and easier for me to put everything back in and then put it back in the drawer.
What I found that may make because I haven't decided how I want to do my small scraps yet, that might make the drawers the winner for me is that now that I've cut up a lot of my scraps, I realize that a lot of the pieces are really varying sizes. So we've got like one strip that's like this long, but then another strip that I could only get this much out of. But this is still a perfectly good scrap. So I really do like the idea of being able to fold, the larger ones and keep the smaller ones, because there's no way I can have this standing up or wrapped around. Like I use the comic book folders for any kind of yardage. So I think that the bins are going to be the way I end up going. Well, the short bins in the drawer versus large bins out somewhere. I think. So that kind of brings me to today's lesson, and that's that we're going to take our color sorted piles. So I've got my blues here, and we're going to start cutting them down. And please feel free, if you've got a question for me or for Amanda, please just go ahead and put it in the feed and we will get it up on the screen, or even a comment. Do you have to keep your 7x7 or less scrap strips or cut them down to squares right away? This is what we're going to get to right now. This is an amazing question. So let's put up the graphic. Probably if I would have just went by that, no one would have noticed. This is what we've done so far. And then we're going to get to what we're working on tonight. So if you're just tuning in for the first time tonight because you've just registered, the last 2 weeks ago when we first did this live, we sorted all of our scraps into like colors. So I've got all the blues together. I've got all the oranges together, all the pinks. You get it. Start thinking about, we just talked about it a little bit there, what kind of storage or organizational system is going to work best for you? Do you need to get another shelf in the house? Do you have a drawer? Do you have some bins? Do you need to get to the dollar store? Are you going to make some boxes out of old Amazon things like I did? And then you're going to get ready to start trimming, because the trimming is what we're going to get to tonight. And I can show you that right now. So if you're looking at your scraps and you've got them sorted by color, when you pull a scrap out, these are the sizes we're going to recommend that you trim them down to. And this is width only. So just to get back to that question, should we trim it to 7x7 inch square? No. When you get to a big scrap, so for example, I've got this pile right here of 7 inchers that I've already cut down, but they're varying lengths, but they're all 7 inches wide. And what this allows me to do is potentially get a number of, 2-inch strips out of here, or, 1-inch strips, or make some binding out of this. If we were doing a scrappy binding or something like that. So I'm advising go by width only and fold up the length, and for all of the different sizes. Amanda, what do you think about the length?
Yeah, I leave my scraps in the largest size I can. I don't like to cut them any smaller because I will always regret it.
Yeah.
Because eventually there'll be a time where I'm like, oh, I wish this was just like half an inch bigger. So I just leave them. I don't really follow the system of cutting the sizes, but if you're doing that, I wouldn't subcut them any further. Just leave them, and that way you have more to use later.
Now, that is going to require like a certain amount of labeling, so that you know what size you have. For me, I'm cutting them down to the sizes that were on that chart, because from there I can get whatever size I need. And for me, having every single size in my drawer is too much. Like to have a 4-inch drawer and it's going to take up so much space for what I've got. And I'm okay with shedding a little bit so that I know, well, I'll have to pull from the 5-inch if I need a 4-inch.
Yep.
That's fine. If you're like, no, I want to have 1 inch, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. If you want it to bring it to, the biggest size you possibly can, I get it. But no, you're going to have a lot to choose from then. And hey, maybe you got the space for that. And that's really a waste not, want not strategy for sure.
Yeah, a lot of times it comes up to when I'm digging through my scraps, it's like, what fabric do I want and what size do I have?
Right.
And so like it's one of those things where as the more you use your scraps, the more you get to understand how you actually will use them better and
Yeah.
how you should store them better.
Like for example, I'm noticing when I'm going through, I end up with a lot of 2.5-inch strips because I've taken them from jelly rolls.
Yeah.
And I end up with a lot of, 2.25, or even 2-inch because these are leftover that I've cut for bindings.
Right.
So do I cut that down, based on the recommendation on the size chart? And I'm going to email this all to you guys and I'll post it in the group too. So, I know you would say, Amanda, don't take that 2-inch strip and cut it down to 1.5 because that's wasting 1/2 inch. But I actually am going to do that.
Yeah.
Because this has been in my scrap bin so long, it's very raggedy on both sides. And I'm okay with a bit of wasting. So I'm going to take it from both sides. And I know that I'm dealing with 1.5-inch strips, or I'm dealing with 2.5-inch. That way, if I do need a 2-inch strip in the future, it's nice and crisp, and I can pull it from my 2.5-inch strips.
Yeah, and a lot of times it depends on what you tend to make. So I tend to make a lot of foundation paper piecing, which it requires really odd shaped scraps. So it makes sense for me to do things a little bit different than someone that only makes half square triangles or only uses strips. Like think about how you use your fabric and what makes sense for you.
So this piece here, you'll see I've made something that has sort of random jaggedy, but I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clean inches to the right of my ruler. Can I? Or am I just off? Just about, it's a little off right here, but I can still get a good 5 inches. So I'm going to take that at 5 inches. And the end here is a little jaggedy. But I'm going to leave it. You could square it off if you want. What would your advice be here? Do you square it off or leave it?
I don't know. Like it depends on the day. Some days I'd be like, it's going to be pristine. And other days I'd be like, it's close.
We've got some good questions here. Let's hear from Glenda. I have a bin of leftover bias strips. Would they be worth keeping? Well, if you want to do a scrappy binding, Glenda, for sure. What do you think, Amanda?
Yeah, like if they're longer than 4 or 5 inches, absolutely keep them. And I know I'm a little bit special in so many ways, but because I go to stores and I do demos, I use those in demos a lot because I don't need a huge piece. I just need a little piece. But it's also a great way to try out a new technique or to, as Jen says, like stitch them together and have a scrappy binding. I love a scrappy binding.
I love a scrappy binding too. So you'll notice here, this long random piece, kind of getting a little skinny, like just a little under 1 inch in the middle here. So I'm just taking it out, and this is going in the actual scrap bin, like the one I'm going to stuff a dog bed with or something like that. And if it gets too skinny again, I'll also cut it down. That way I'm not having to kind of contend with pieces that I know are just too small going forward. I'm really trying to keep them to the sizes that I know I have. That way, when some of the patterns, like when we start next week, are going to say pull 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 of your 5-inch scraps, pull however many of your 2.5-inch scraps, pull this many of your, another set of 2.5-inch scraps, pull one of your 1.5 and one of your 7-inch. And if you just pull that, you'll have enough to make the block. And that's what I sort of love about this book, and I love about this system, is that it's going to take those measurements. So even for this big mushroom quilt, so
I love it.
I know. It says take 40 of, these scraps, take 20 or take 40 of your 2.5-inch strips. And you know what I mean? And you're going to be able to just basically pull right from your bins and have exactly what you need for whatever project that you decide to make in here.
All of them.
Yeah, for all of them. Like this one.
I'm going to make them all.
I know. You just need one 5.5-inch square. So you're just going to pull from your 7 and you'll have it. You need 8 4.5-inch squares. You're going to pull 8 of your 5-inch squares and cut them down to 4.5. So you're going to have enough to do this kind of thing, which is why cutting them down as you go is so great. And you want to know what? I was making some, and hopefully you guys are following me on Instagram. If you're not, do it. Because us quilters don't tend to go to Instagram. We tend to stay on Facebook, but Instagram is pretty fun. Anyway, I'm going to post. I was making a pair of Valentine's Day pajamas out of all of this yardage. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll just cut this scrap down right now. Yes. And it was done. It was my first time like being productive and like with the scraps as I went. And I was like, this is going to get easier going forward because it's like,
gold star Jen.
Yes.
Okay. So the fabric you're cutting now, which is really funny because I was actually holding some of the very similar fabric. I often, when I'm doing these ones, I take the time to square them up a bit because they're straight lines. And I know if I'm going to use it in a project, I don't want it like weird and wonky and off grain. So I will take some time to kind of straighten up what I can.
That's a good tip. That's a very good tip.
And if that strip there, because it gets thinner, and if you straightened it all the way, I would cut it in half where it gets thicker, straighten up that part, and then leave the top part.
Yeah, that's a good call. Because you can see, like with the checkers here, it's going like, you know what I mean? You can see the bend. So yeah, definitely and try to do it with the grain line versus just like the gingham line. But the gingham line kind of helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, there was another question. What do you do with interfacing scraps? So this is like stabilizers, fusible, like things that I've got a bunch right here, because you often end up with tons of scraps like these, and I end up just like in a baggie, which, we could probably just do the same darn thing, but often you need such weird shapes for these too. What do you think, Amanda?
Okay, so it depends on what they are. If they are like a papery one, and I tend to just get rid of those. Those, like, they're kind of like a dime a dozen. But if it is something that you can iron on, I keep those. And if you have one of our circle attachments that we did the classes with, the Janome circle attachments, I always put those on the back of where I'm putting my pivot point in because it needs more stabilization. So if you have like 1-inch squares of those work perfectly. If it's a wash away, like the ones that you wash away, I know you can put those in a spray bottle and use it sort of like a starch.
Yes.
Yeah. There's lots of little things, but like if it's a one-trick pony and there's really nothing else you can think that you'll use it for, I would get rid of them. But sometimes a little strip, a teeny tiny one, will be perfect for stabilizing a hem on something, or if you're doing a decorative stitch somewhere. Often you'll want an extra layer of something, so you can keep them and just keep them organized by type so you don't get confused. Because often I pull them out, I'm like, what is this? And it's this tiny scrap, and I'm like, maybe it's an iron-on. And then I iron, I'm like, no, it's not.
If you are someone who like has like stabilizer like that, you'll probably never use a little like 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch piece of fabric, but you will use a 1/2 inch piece of stabilizer.
Yeah.
You really will, because you might just need it under a row of stitches. So if you've got a long kind of jaggedy strip, I would trim it up to its, the largest strip that you can make it. And I would lay it out in a drawer too. I might not like sort them by size because they tend to all be this color. They're kind of hard to see, or maybe you do sort them by size because they're hard to see. But I would keep, as long as it's long enough, very skinny strips for sure, because we use those a lot on, the hems of a skirt, or, if you ever wanted to, if a sewing machine that does letters or decorative stitches, and you ever wanted to do that on ribbon, for example, you want to put a little skinny strip of some kind of stabilizer behind that so that it turns out. So keep them. All right, next question. Can I see it off the blue? Hi, Jen. I've been going through and am uncertain if a fabric is white with pink flowers. Does this go in the white bin or the pink bin? So we've had, this is a very good question. And I was debating, maybe it's this fabric you're using. I was debating the exact same thing. Is this a white? Is this a pink? Is it lilac? And we talked a little bit about it last week, Amanda, and we kind of determined what is the color that you see first, in determining what color or what bin this particular, fabric should go in. Is this a white? Is it a blue? Is it a pink? What do you think?
Yeah, like my favorite trick for this, it's kind of ridiculous, but you squint so you can't tell the pattern of the block and just say what color you see. So you're not looking at the design, which often tricks you. Like that one, I would say that's red, because that's what I'm seeing more of when I squint my eyes.
Yeah,
it's the squint method.
Even though the background of this is very, very, it's pink. So like this is sort of like a pink fabric, because you might think it's a pink fabric because the background is pink, but the flowers are so like busy and loud that it kind of takes over. So yeah, it probably should go in the red or the orange pile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you just need a pile that is like multicolor. You can't really determine what it is, because I find when you're looking for something like that, you specifically go to that pile.
Yeah. Like a low volume, like kind of white, or, if we're going to do like the cover of the book, for example, I don't know if you can tell, or if you have the book, if it's been shipped to you already, maybe I can find it. If it's been shipped to you already, it looks like the background of this quilt here is white. In fact, it looks like the background of lots of these quilts are white, but they're not. Almost none of them are white. They're all, kind of, it looks like this, like some sort of low volume. This looks like newsprint, or something that looks a little like a low volume white that has a little bit of something on it, but is mostly reading white when you squint. And they're just all thrown together. And in the end, when you see it, even though none of these, if you're looking at your book at home right now, none of these fabrics are the same. It all just reads white.
Yeah. And if you don't like the squint method, like putting it on the other side of the room and calling out the color it is from the other side of the room sometimes helps too.
Ask someone else if you're not sure. What color is this?
Yeah.
Like if you have a partner at home that's not into quilting, they'll be like, it's blue. And you'll be like, okay, problem solved. Because we tend to overthink, like, oh, but you know what I mean? Ask your kid. If you have a kid, they'll be like, they'll tell you. Mine would say, that color is ugly.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna keep cutting these down. I've got like a major pile to go through, and kind of have some fun with it. You're gonna get pretty quick. Does anyone need a little cutting lesson, or am I assuming that we all know how to operate the rotary cutter and ruler? If you don't, if you're really new and you do need me to go through how I'm cutting this down, just leave it in the comments because I can go through this now, how I'm cutting it. I'm sort of taking for granted that you may know how to use the rotary cutter and ruler. I'm just lining up the 1.5 inch line on the ruler with the straight line of that fabric that's underneath. And then with the rotary cutter, always cutting with confidence. And there's my 1.5 inch strip. And I'm just gonna kind of like make my way through the blues. Like this is a good example of like, it's in my blue pile, but I think I probably have enough teal going on or aqua that it could be like its own bin because it's so popular and really so very different than like navy. You know what I mean?
Yes, like I have 2 pink bins, and one is for like a more red pink, and the other is for a more orange pink. So like the coralies go in one, the other ones go in the other one.
And let's face it, if you're not someone who can like look at colors like that and know this is a warm red versus a cool red, don't sweat it. Just put it in the red pile. It's going to work out. It's going to be fine. It doesn't, for now, maybe just red is fine. It doesn't, you don't have to get there if you're not there. At some point you will be. All right, let me take a look at the sizes again, Karin. We'll just throw those up. That these are the sizes that I'm suggesting if you need a guideline. If you just want to make it the biggest you possibly can, but if you need a guideline, anything over, much over like 7 inches, you can kind of either cut down to multiple 7-inch strips if you don't have enough yardage, or if it's weird, like you made a shirt out of it and now it's kind of got a rounded end. But otherwise you can put it away like with your fat quarters or with your yardage. Okay, question from Karen. Does it matter how you cut the fabric if you don't know where the salvage edges were? That's a good question. I'm sort of not paying much attention to that. I'm assuming that when I first cut it, I cut it properly. So I'm just kind of following the edge that's there. Amanda, do you have a rule for that?
No, I don't. I don't have a rule for that because I actually am not sure that when I cut it, that I actually cut it properly because I am chaotic. And that's a big thing. I know a lot of more traditional quilters are very big on making sure that they have the proper direction of their fabrics while they're cutting. And I know there's some modern quilters that are along those lines too, but I'm very much on the boat that I think it's going to work out in the end. I know when I'm doing curves that I'm going to be cutting my fabric in a way that I'm going to get bias anyway. So I tend to be a little more careful with how I'm handling the fabric to begin with. But when scrappy projects are kind of so forgiving that we're all just overwhelmed with like how cute all these different fabrics go together, that we're not looking at, did we cut them the right way? Or is there a little more movement than there should be?
Yeah, I think you'd have to be a pretty seasoned pro to know the difference, or even spot the difference once it's been pieced, especially into a scrappy project. So I think you're just free to use whatever the longest side is that's going to give you that strip, and kind of don't worry too much about the bias. This is already 2.5 because that was a binding strip. There we go. So we have our question about, are we only doing quilting cottons? What about fleece, or what about knits? We talked a little bit about that last week too. And what we're suggesting is that you apply the same rule for different types of fabrics. Now, you're probably going to have far fewer fleece, probably far fewer knits, unless you really are a garment maker. But for now, what we've done in this organizational event is I've put all my knits, I've left them in my original bin. So I've got like this leftover t-shirt material. I've got some, heavier upholstery fabrics here. Oh God, this is so gorgeous. I know, you just pull it all out and you're like, yes. Like this was like, I got from like a furniture maker. They let me rifle through their scrap bin one time. And I just was like, I'll take it. This is like $200 a meter. Anyway, I've made so many things out of this. Anyway, But I've kept that for now still in the bin to still be sorted with like fabrics. So my knits are in here. Anything that wasn't a quilting cotton, yeah, like see, this was binding one time I used that same, but I don't want to get rid of it. But it's not going to go in with my quilting cotton. So what we'd suggest is if you have fleece, put them all in a fleece bin. And if you have so many fleece scraps or flannel, for example, that it warrants, sorting them by color, then start sorting them by color and then start cutting them down in this exact same system. Now, with flannels and fleeces, you tend to need bigger pieces. So really be careful about cutting them right down to a 2.5-inch strip. You might not really need a 2.5-inch strip of fleece. So again, Amanda's tip on ask yourself, how will I use this? Am I going to use this? Is it even big enough? Given, like a knit fabric that's only this big, like what are you going to do with it really? You can't really make much out of a t-shirt material that's only, this big. You're probably best to just get rid of it unless you think it's, maybe could make a pocket or something like that. So keep that in mind. If there's no practical use for it, you may as well put it into textile recycling, use it as stuffing. Those were the kinds of things. Cuffs for sure, but if there's not enough to go around, then yes, good tip though, Chris. Lingerie, Liz with her bras. That's true. You just need enough to cover the nip. I think that was from Liz, no?
Oh, Jen.
My here. Yes, doll clothes. That is a very, very good tip. We just saw you, I don't know if you've just joined in, Michael, but we just saw you introduce your drawer system in the video that you did where you are organizing your scraps. So we liked seeing your drawer there. We like seeing your drawers, Michael, since we're in the line of questioning at this point. Panels for panties. Liz is right. I could put a little strip in your underwear there. That's true. Set them aside, you guys. We've got another bra making class coming out this year. So there you go. Lots of people have been asking what classes we've got coming, but what I can tell you right now is we will announce the events that we're going to have coming up this year, but we have, or like on Saturday, we've kind of opened, but on Saturday, the homemade shop, which is beneath us right now, will be open 9 to 7
nice.
all weekend.
You have to go.
Amanda was here in the shop this morning. She got a fresh sneak peek of, what'd you think?
It's so nice. And I did some shopping. Like, it's going to be great. Like, Jen's put in so much hard work with her team. And I got to meet almost like a good chunk of the staff today. And they are so lovely.
Oh,
and they're going to help you get so situated with whatever project you're going with.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
And there's sections of the store that have like some stuff from leftover events. Like there's some Cricut stuff. There's like a watercolor section. There's some yarn. There's like odds and ends, like, glue and erasers and, crafty type things.
And you had candy and I forgot to buy some.
Oh yeah, the candy.
I saw it and I was like, I'm going to get some. And then totally forgot.
The champagne gummy bears, they're in stock. Yes. So if anyone is near Kingston this weekend and you want to come for it's not our grand opening, it's our soft opening. So if you come, we will love to see you. We will love to see you. But this is going to be where we're like, please be patient with us while we figure out how to use the cash. We have no idea how many people will come or if anyone will. And then we're going to do our grand opening where both Amanda and Michael will be here doing demos on the machines. Yes, I have a store now. I haven't even announced it publicly yet. It's opening Saturday. Maybe that's why no one's going to
Jen, you need to get on this. You need to get on this.
I've sort of reverse engineered this. Yes, the posts are going to go up. We do have a store. Donna's saying, I know the cash can be tricky because Donna came in and it was tricky. We've been having people come in if they text me or message me that they're coming through. Of course, we'll let you in. but we're going to officially start being open with hours starting Saturday. So yay! We can now work 7 days a week.
You were
Amanda's
already doing that.
Yeah. Oh, Tammy's going to be coming through her birthday weekend, February 11th, and she's going to stop by. Yes! Okay, message us, Tammy, so I can make sure that I'm here. If anyone's coming through and they want to make sure they see me, you've got to let us know, because I'm like, sometimes I'm up here, sometimes I'm in the studio in Toronto, sometimes I'm just down there, sometimes I'm just at home. So definitely, if you are coming in and you want me to be here, and maybe you don't, hey, that's fine. I'm just here to see Amanda and the team. Hey, that's cool. That's fine. But I'd love to meet you. So please let me know. I would hate to miss you is what I'm really trying to say. So if you're coming through, please let me know.
And the store is in such a great location. Not only is it like right off the highway, like
right off the 401, yeah.
Right off the highway, but there's also other shopping to do right there. So like you can make a day of it. And the food in Kingston, let me tell you, there are some delicious places to go for a meal.
Yes. And we've got some really cool stuff that, coming down the pipe this year, which is why I know lots of people are like, why haven't you told us when these events are going to be? We are planning to do an in-person event in the shop, which will be exclusive, where you can get tickets and come and be watch a live from the audience. We've got some stuff like that that's coming down the pipe. I'm just letting you guys, my closest friends, know first. We haven't even announced that we have a store yet, but hey, come. So just stay tuned. I know you guys are all following, so that's great, and you'll get to hear what exciting things we're cooking up. And lots more now that, I'm not saying COVID's like totally over and we don't have to still be careful and all that, but now that we're getting back to being able to do more in-person things, we're going to definitely try to intermix our virtual stuff with some stuff where we can actually bring people in or go to people and that kind of thing. So yeah. Okay, let's go to some more scrappy questions. Let's look at what Jennifer has to say. I picked up scrap bags from other quilted, where there might be a strip that is, say, 4.5 inches. Would you leave it as is and put it with the 4s, or cut it down? So this is what we were saying. It depends on how much space you have for storage and whether or not you're the kind of person who needs everything to be kind of uniform. If you need to know that these 5 sizes that we're recommending that you can put up, those are your scrap sizes, and you can always cut down from there, then I would cut it down. So we're cutting down to, like, Karin, can we put that up? Yeah. So if you've got 4.5, like, should you cut it down to 3.5? You're going to waste an inch. Right now, that is what I'm doing, but it's not what Amanda's doing. So it really depends on, are you okay with knowing you've got a whole myriad of different sizes? Because that's going to take a little more thinking when it comes to sorting them out. You're either going to have to label more bins, all these different extra sizes, and if you've got space for that, hey, go ahead. Or if you're like, you know what, I would rather just stick with these 5 standard sizes. I always know I can cut down from there, and I'm okay with that little bit of waste. Then you can cut it. Then you can cut it down if you want. So, I mean, if it's a 4.5 inch, perfectly good. You love that fabric so much, you could throw it in there, whatever. But I am going to cut mine down, and just so I always know this is the sizes that I've got. Okay. Will we be able to buy online? I can't see me getting to Ontario in the future. So everything that we've got in the shop, like physically, is now on the website. We have got a ton of new fabric on the Homemade website. So if you were to go, sorry to interrupt the scrap talk, but I'm just going to the questions as they come. If you were to go to the Homemade website, come on, and go to where it says shop and go to the drop down menu. Come on, drop down menu. I think this iPad's like, I need to update it. Well, go to the drop down menu. You'll see fabric, and there's tons of collections. We just got like 3 new collections in this week. And by collections, I mean like 15 bolts of all the different ones, because it's a full fabric store down there now. So fun. So many scraps. Yeah. So keep a watch on the website. And if you're shopping for fabric, we'd love to ship you some. So
Yes.
have a look. Have a look. We've got, if you were in our very first homemade event with Heather Bailey, remember we did the apron with her fabric? She has a brand new line out called Local Honey. We just got it in today, and it is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful.
I already picked out like 5 fabrics I'm getting the next time.
I know. It's like, don't sell this. Don't sell this. It's not even priced. Don't worry. Yeah, it's gorgeous, and we've just been sewing up a test quilt. Honestly, I can just say, like, we just made ourselves a dream job here where we're sewing up like sample quilts and buying fabric all the time. It's really so fun. So yes, you can shop online if you can't get here in person. All the same stuff, but you just don't get to meet me in person.
That's right.
Can you give us a virtual tour of downstairs? Yes, all of that is to come for sure. We're going to have a before after video of, the whole, we renovated the entire building. So Karin is going to be busy working on that. And so for anyone who can't get here or wants to see the whole transformation, we've been filming the whole time.
It is unrecognizable. Unrecognizable. Like, I was in Jen's shop probably 5 years ago when it
used to be the store before. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was in there 5 years ago, and I walked in there a couple months ago, the last time I was in town, and I was like, this is not the same place. And like, even today, I was like, holy cow, like, she's done even more work. Like, it's beautiful in there.
Yeah, it's so nice. Basically, you guys, everything that you could never do in your house that would involve like pink wallpaper and gold everything and like cute, like rainbow carpet. Everything you can't do at your house, we did in the shop.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's super cute.
Although I probably would do it in my house. Like,
I know, but
I'm kind of that bold.
Well, yes, I can see that. I can see that. All right. Any other actual? I got signed up late and missed last week. Will I be able to find any printouts and videos someplace? Yes. So if you are in this group right now on my page, just go to videos, and it's the last live that we did from 2 weeks ago. You'll be able to watch us doing the color sorting and all the tips from that week. And I sent out an email just today, and I will email everybody the sizes, that little graphic that we have after this. I'll send it tonight and make sure that the list is totally updated. But this is basically where you're going to watch the lives, where the lives will be from every week in February is right here. Wherever you're watching from, that's where you can keep watching from. All right.
While I'm going through my scrap bin, I keep on running into these fabrics where I'm like, I don't even know where I got them from, but like this one here, it reminds me so much of like green eggs and ham, only it's like blue yolks.
I know.
And I have no clue where it came from.
Yeah.
Oh, and I love this one. I don't know where it's from.
Is that a Tula Pink one?
No, I don't even think so.
But you know what? I love that everything for me has been like a trip down memory lane. Like, oh, I remember making this with the kids, or I remember using that for this.
My little sloths.
Oh, hi, buddy.
I guess he goes like this.
But you know what? You had a great tip last week about cutting, like fussy cutting, if it's not big enough for a strip, or if it's something like the sloth that has like a star of the show.
Yeah, because there's even like little toucans and lizards.
Yeah, that would make a great center block of something really small. Do you have your little block still that you showed last week with that tip?
Yeah, I do. My little unicorn.
Yeah, so see how tiny that center block is? Like that was probably what, 2.5 inches or something, and now it's or one, or something like that. And
it's what, 2.
Yeah, and if you fussy cut that down, which just means like making sure the unicorn stays intact, then you can make it this real, like the star of,
Yeah.
at the center of a block like that. Yeah.
Because like, what am I using that for? I don't know, because I've cut off their
Oopsie.
heads.
You've got just as privates there.
It's gone to a dark place.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
so
we're
like
not-
those
not
character
showing,
ones.
not showing with the unicorn butts.
Wait,
front
wait,
and
wait.
center.
Like, I just found its head. Look, you're gonna stitch it back together.
Oh my gosh. Tammy just realized she doesn't have enough scraps. I just checked my local marketplace. No scraps. Look like I'm going to have to go to the fabric store. So much for no spending in February. Okay, so Tammy, someone else ran into your exact same problem. She wrote us this week and she was like, I'm new to sewing, but I love the scrappy look. I want to be able to blah, blah, blah. And so she actually got the kit, like the full kit that comes with the 5.5 yards of fabric. And really, we're giving you that so that you have like backing fabric for a quilt that you make. And she's like, I just want it so that I can beef up my scrap collection. And so what we're doing for her is letting her pick, what was it, like 22? Yeah. Was it 22 though of them? 22 quarter-yard pieces. So we're going to send her 22 different ones because it makes 5.5. We don't mind cutting them for you. So if you wanted to do that too, Tammy, it's fine. Just put a note if you get the kit. Just put a note that you want the quarter yards, and we can either, give you all in pink or all in blue, or if you're just like, send me what you got, like so that it truly is scrappy. That'd be a fun thing to open. Yeah. Anyway, that's what someone got us to do this week, which was really, really fun. And someone else, who was it? Ordered and just said, could you just pick me, how many was it? 4, remember she let us pick her fabric? And Vanessa Harris, bless her. She said, she told us her 3 favorite colors. She said, go ahead, pick me something. And we stood at the big wall like, what are we going to pick? It was so fun. Anyway, she loved it. She wrote us back. We sent it.
It's like when I put in a grocery order and you have to spend so much to get like a discount.
Uh-huh.
I often put it on my grocery order. I'm like, can you just add treats until I get to that line?
I love, the surprise treats. I love to see what candy you're going to send me because you're going to love it. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Someone
and
asked,
it's so fun. That's why so many people
asked
love
about
getting the grab bags. Exactly. Whenever we have an event, we do the grab bags. And I think that's half the fun is not knowing what you're going to get.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It'd be very fun to just pick. The other thing I should
Someone
do
asked where I was going to put this. This, I think, because I do love it, and I know this is the only little chunk I have, I actually think I got it in a scrap bag one time. It's probably, either go in something like that, or I will put it in a special bin to be fussy cut for a block at some point.
Yeah, fussy cut it for a block, or something that's super small that can still be a star of the show.
Yeah,
is a zipper pull. Or like the tag of the bag like this, because it takes a very, very small piece, but this is a very front and center part of this bag are these little pulls at the end, and they don't need to match, but that's a great use for something that you love that you only have a wee tiny bit of.
Yes, and to go along with the scraps that are short or like thinner than the suggested 1.5, but if you want to keep them, I am going to do a video on my fabric twine.
Yeah, show that. Do you have that roll or the whatever you're making?
Yes, it's out in the hall though. But like it's just a twisted twine. It looks like a baker's twine, but thicker with scraps of fabric. And they don't have to be any particular size. Like some of them, when I'm putting them together, are like 3/4 of an inch, maybe is the smallest, maybe a little bit thinner than that. And the other widths are like an inch and a half. And I will put together a video on that. And as long as they're over like 2 inches long, they're easy to put into the twine. And I'll do a video on how to make that. And I'm still figuring out how I'm going to use it. But before the end of next month, I will have something up to show you how I'm using them. Yeah, stuff like that.
And like little pieces like this that they're too small technically, and this has like a pinking sheer edge. So it's too small for my scrap sizes, But when you're gonna like twist them and twine them like and turn it into like rope kind of thing, that's a great use for those smaller pieces. So I'm excited to see your video on that.
Yes.
Oh, Donna just received her kit today and she got 16¼ yard of ombre to add to her quilt and some other awesome choices. Yay. That's so good. That's so good. I know Donna's saying we need to sell a scrap kit. We thought of it. And honestly, now that like I'm getting them all cut up, that's what we probably should do is like spend like an afternoon where we all like make all these sizes and then just ship them out to people, because at some point you got a lot of scraps.
I would love to do like a scrap exchange at some point.
Oh yeah.
Where we all just like, we organize our scraps, cut them down, and then we just switch them around so that everyone gets a little different.
Yeah, you get a scrap pen pal and you just like, here you go. That'd be fun.
Yes.
That would be fun. That's a good idea. Okay, so check this out. So I just cut my 1.5 inch strip, and we're going to wrap it up here because we're going kind of past time and we're just kind of yammering on here because I'm just working and chatting. So I've got my 1.5 inch strip. And then I've got this sort of piece that if I turn it, I can still get a fairly decent either 1.5 inch little piece that's, you know, kind of perfect for a zipper tab. You know, it's flat on this edge. So don't ignore these pieces that kind of seem like they might not be worth that much, but this can still be like quite a valuable piece. Can I get 2.5 out of it? I'm going to take 2.5 out of it. So that's really good.
Yes.
For something that seems like, you know, it kind of was the leftover piece from my 1.5 inch strip. And remember,
and it seems so much more manageable once it's in a pretty little square or strip.
Yeah. You can kind of see the value in this so much greater than when it's in its like, you know, hunk like that. So that can go. And then this can go with my, even though it's a small piece, that's still perfect for a little pull tab. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yammer away. We love it, Chris says. I know, it's true.
4 hours later.
I know. Look at this nice long piece. What did I use this for?
I like that. Now that's a tricky one because you would want that centered. And so like I would almost, I don't know, are you going to trim it or are you going to just leave it?
Well, let me just look like what it's at here. So it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think if I were to trim it down to 5, I'd take a half off of each side. But yeah, like I'd want to keep the nice, you know, the damasks here intact.
Yes, absolutely.
It's actually cut pretty straight. Like obviously whatever, maybe I bought it like this and just never used it. It went right in the scrap bin. Sounds about right.
But this is a good example because that's how many, it's 6 inches. So 1/4 yard is 9 inches?
9, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're buying a large print fabric, if you're buying it in the store or if you're buying it online is tricky because you don't think of these things, is always think about how big that print is. And if you really wanted a full like effect of those little circles, you would want to buy at least a half a yard, if not a full yard.
Yeah. And you would not want the person at the store to cut right in the middle of any one of these. Like it would be worth just getting the extra couple inches to salvage this, because that would look great in the center of something. You know, you could quilt a circle or like right around that. Yeah, you can totally just leave this one. And maybe I should leave this one just for future. And so I can decide how much of it I really do need. And I'm going to put it in the 7 pile.
That's a good idea.
Now, see, something must be up here because now I've got another blue exactly the same. What have I done?
What were you making, Jen?
I don't know. And I'm not remembering any of these fabrics, which makes me think they must have been in some kind of bundle that I just, you know, grabbed, because I always remember like what projects and where I would have like picked that out. You know, like I know this used to be our bedroom pillowcases.
Oh,
that's what this
so
is.
Sweet.
Yeah. See, there's the seam. Maybe it's time to get rid of this one, but
cut out the seam.
We'll
You're fine.
We'll see. You never know. You just never know.
Tammy wants to know what's the address of the store. It's on Gardner's Road. That's all I know.
So the official address is 637. Maybe Amanda can type it in the comments. 637 Norris Court, because you kind of come in off a little side street. But the front door is facing Gardner's Road, which is a pretty big thoroughfare in Kingston. And there's an exit for Gardner's Road off the 401. And it's right across from Lowe's, like the big box store, Lowe's. So 637 Norris Court, or 1080 Gardner's Road if it's the driving address. But you do have to come in off this little kind of side road to come in the driveway and then park around front. And we have a very janky temporary sign.
It gets the job done. It gets the job done.
It tells you this is where we are, but it also tells another story, that we don't have our act quite together yet. So
You're just fine. You're just
fine. Eventually there will be a real sign, not that sign, but at least you'll know that's where we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Apparently, there's a whole story that goes behind those buildings that your store is in.
Oh, really?
But I don't really remember
Don't say it's haunted.
No. Although my aunt's house is haunted in Kingston where we're staying, and I saw the ghost this weekend. That's a whole other story.
What?
Yes. But I think those were built to be more like house units, or they were originally going to be townhouses, and then they flipped them into businesses partway through the project because they look a little bit more cottagey,
Homey, like condoy.
Yeah.
And when we got, there must be something to that, because when we have like these recycling bins and garbage bins like in the back that we had to like order, and I wanted them to be like right near the back of the building so that we didn't have to like traipse across the whole back parking lot to like take the boxes out, because yeah. And the waste management company said, well, we're not sure if we can put it there because the snow removal, and we tend to pick up really early in the morning, and we get complaints because there's somebody in like the vicinity who lives upstairs in one of these, and they called to complain that the garbage gets picked up too early and that it wakes them up. And I was like, what? Who's living here? Anyway.
Okay, you all want to hear the ghost story.
Yes, we want to hear the ghost story.
So my aunt and uncle's house, before they bought it, it was an elderly couple that lived in it, and the woman was fairly disabled. And she had a mobility device where it was a track on the ceiling, and they would put her in this like swing chair thing and move her through the house on that because her husband wasn't strong enough to lift her. Anyway, she did pass away in the house, and they knew that when they bought it.
Okay.
But my cousin and I were sitting talking one night, and all of a sudden there was a noise in the hall, and I saw a black flash, and I was like, oh, that's just the cat. They do not have a cat. No cat. And then my cousin looks at me, she's like, what was that? And I was like, well, I just saw something fly through the hall. And she
saw the cat. Oh my God.
Yeah. And she's like, that's the ghost. And she said that they haven't seen the ghost in a very long time, and that I have reawoken her.
What?
I know. Isn't that creepy?
Oh my gosh.
Right? But now I'm even more freaked out because that happens. And when I go to QuiltCon in February, I'm staying in a haunted hotel, and I dug into that story.
Are you kidding? What is wrong with you?
Right? And the event that happened, that why it is haunted, happened on my birthday. If I do not come back, the ghosts have me.
Well, here's what I would do. If there was a ghost, I would have to call it out and be like, come on. Don't play any tricks on me. I'm not into your tricks. Come, let me help you. Why are you here? Let's talk this out. Why haven't you gone the whole way through? Let's figure this out. You died here. What's not finished? Let's get it done. Because I can't live like this. That's what I'd have to do.
It seems I don't get a creepy feeling in the house, so it's fine. It's fine.
Therapy. Ghost therapy.
Jen's new job. Fabric shop and ghost therapy.
Yes. Ghost therapist. Please don't bring the ghosts here for therapy. This is only if they're already here. I'm not taking any new clients. No.
I'll have to take you to
Funny.
my aunt and
Okay,
uncle's house.
it's like what? We've gone like 17 minutes over, and
we gotta go.
We've mostly held everybody here. So that's, hey. Dun-dun-dun. See you next week, folks. Oh, that's funny. We wish you lived closer to Chris, and I'm excited to see anybody who can make it here on Saturday. Pop in anytime. Just me and the ghosts are going to be here. No, there's going to be lots of people here, lots of great helpers, and I hope you love the shop. It's been a very, very big undertaking, so yeah. But mostly for this purpose, we want you to get cutting. Definitely tag me and Amanda in any pictures that you post of your, scrappiness. If you set yourself up with a little time lapse like I did, you'll be motivated to keep going because you don't want to stop after like 15 seconds. Yeah. And if, Niagara to Kingston is a little far, so you can just go to...
I'm in Hamilton. I was just there this morning in Kingston. Now I'm back in Hamilton.
It's true. She left around noon, just hightailed it back home for the live. Maybe at some point you do a little just day trip in the summer. Bring a girlfriend and that'd be fun. But you can always shop at homemade.ca. Just go to shop and we've got almost everything posted there. So this is the Facebook page, Dana. Yep. If you are on it right now, this is where you need to be when we start Free February next week. And I'm wanting you guys to have all your scraps cut down, or at least get a couple of colorways cut down. So you can see I got the pinks cut down early, so I was able to fashion this out. But we're going to start really small with some little projects. If you need the book, we've got a few left. And we can ship that to you this week, so you've got it in time. And if you need scraps and you want all of your yardage broken up into quarter yards, we can do that for you too. Kind of beef up your stash a little bit, but then you're breaking our Free February solemn vow, which, whatever.
It's not February yet.
True. We can still say this is part of the Christmas spending.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Amanda.
Bye, everyone.